is, yeah.
I would like to
By all
see
means.
when Albertine died. How old was she?
18, is that 1850 or 1860?
1860, yeah.
In 1953.
So she was 96, 97? No, she couldn't have
And then
been that
here
old.
I have, I don't know how I have that, but the census for,
Oh, right.
60. Wait, what were
Oh, yeah.
93?
so that was for the Zimmendorf.
Does anybody have a pen, by the way?
I have a pen.
80, 83 maybe? 83 or 92?
This is my unofficial office, you know.
And who's
It's easier to
this?
meet here than over there.
That is my grandmother and my grandfather, I think. I'm pretty sure.
That's
I'm
Albertine.
pretty sure.
Is that Albertine
Yeah,
and Christian?
I think so. Yeah, it's like this picture I showed. Maybe you were out in the car yet.
Yeah,
That
it
was
must be
their
their wedding day.
That was
when
the
she wore
wedding.
no black?
Yeah.
I think they did
They
that
did.
then. Yeah, so that's like,
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Those I don't have yet. All right.
and then this is your family.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Yes, yes, I like that too, absolutely.
that's me. You can really tell my features. I'm all blurred. I must have moved my face.
You and Poochie.
I'm
Oh,
the
wow.
youngest. And then my
That's nice.
sister, 3 years, Ruth, and then my grandmother, my father's mother.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And that's just, yeah, it's really nice. Absolutely.
Oh, and that's another Aunt Louise and Uncle Tater. He's the one I stuck my tongue out at. I don't know what that is, Justin.
Hmm.
It's inside, I think, of Burkle's church, the very first church.
Oh, my goodness.
You can have it and ask somebody from Burkle's.
Yeah, I'll scan it too, yeah.
Because I remember being in that old church before they built the Holy Ghost church.
Across the street with the points on it and
Yeah,
everything, yeah.
because
The second church, yeah.
the old church, one girl that I know had gotten pregnant without being married
Mm.
from that church. And they made her go to that church and publicly apologize.
Mm.
And I thought that was so cruel.
Talk about
No.
wearing the scarlet letter.
Oh,
Yeah, I thought
absolutely.
that was very cruel. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. What are some of the other more interesting times? Some of the more interesting things that happened to people as you
That
lived
happened
there
to
yet?
people? Well,
Yeah.
somebody used to park next to our St. John Church. They were parkers. Joyce Small and I, Joyce lived on Church Road, so Joyce and I would be back and forth. That car's always there. What are you doing there? We let the tires out of the air out of one of the tires. Well, a couple of days later, parked there again.
Huh.
Well, let's do 2 tires. 2 tires. They never parked there again. And then they also had parkers on Steeg Road before Fairmount Park.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and,
yeah.
and there was also a hump in the road on Nass Road. And Claire Persky, she was Ziegman. She was one of the twins, Donnie and Richie Ziegman's sisters.
Mm-hmm.
So Claire and I and Lois and Joyce probably, I don't know. We were old enough to drive. So we're gonna chase parkers. We'd sneak up behind them without lights on our car. And then we'd flash the lights. And gone over. They'd leave. You know, you look back and you think, oh my God, we were bad.
I know, you could have set up the cast for a new Jackass movie, you know?
I don't,
Or
but we
inspired
were
them, you
good
know?
kids.
I
We
guess,
were
I
good
know.
kids.
And to clarify, parkers were unfamiliar vehicles or people that just parked in different places to engage or to look at, to investigate or whatever else, yeah.
Well,
Hang out.
Dale
you know, I
Crowell's
know.
wife, they go to our
Sure.
church, and
That's
Linda
funny.
was Linda Miller from Homeyer Road, and her father was the electrician, and her mother was Phyllis Miller, who was friends with everybody in Johnsburg from St. John Church. And Phyllis always said that Claire and Lois and Jackie and I were the best teenagers she ever met. And I see Linda in church sometimes, and she still says, "Oh my God, you're my baby's, my Sunday school teacher." I was her Sunday school teacher. But her mother always said we were just very good girls. We were kind. We-
So maybe the,
Mischievous.
right, exactly, and maybe say an old word, naughty. Right? I mean, there was such a thing as just being a little naughty, and that was kind of the,
Now, I've had
Whatever.
these for years. I don't know where I got them, but I'm giving them all to you with this clip. And in here, it said, I had that note from years ago, and I don't know why, but they're brief, and they're from 2009.
okay, yeah.
I don't know, did I pick them up over at Duff's house, maybe? Does that look familiar to you?
Maybe,
Ann?
maybe
Might
when you
still
took
be.
that German class?
But why did I write Fern's name? Because evidently Don Zine, who was a doctor in was a doctor in California, same age as me, graduated with me. And Don would contact me and say, "How do I get a hold of those books?" His uncle was Herman Zane, who lived right here on Church Road. He was a builder. He built a lot of homes around here, his uncle. And Don grew up in Gratwick, next door to Stoeckel's, okay? And he had contacted me, how do I get those books? Wilma Lass
Yeah.
wrote him and said, mail the order to Fern Stoeckel. Have you ever heard of her?
I will have to ask my membership people on the
Okay,
board. You know, I'll
because
show them this.
I knew
yeah.
her from
Oh.
church activities. She was a lovely, lovely lady, little tiny lady that was at all Lutheran events. And I have her picture on my phone that I took from the Buffalo News. She just passed away.
Yeah, I'm just noticing the
Yeah,
the
so
data
you can,
there. Yeah,
you
okay.
can have all this.
Right, because we might have to update our membership
Yeah,
things.
and maybe
right, yeah.
they know it in Burkle, but Wilma Lass was Wilma Jepson.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a child, my father had been a retired Lutheran pastor. The pastor at Holy Ghost was Pastor, I think his name was John Kuchenbecker, Kuchembecker. We would go over there and we would sit on his front porch and watch the Burkles Fire Company. And I remember an Indian getting so drunk and chasing his wife, and Pastor Kuchenbecker said, yeah, that happens a lot, that Indians get wild when they drink. And I think that's true. And
Yeah,
I respect Indians, I do.
Well, so do I. We had a Dr. Lloyd Elm, whose Onondaga name was Gunaswase, or New House. In other words, the new schoolhouse that he helped to found on the Onondaga Nation as a younger professional. But he said when he was younger, and he told this grandfatherly figure in front of our class, he must have been in his 80s when we had his last class with us, and he was a faith keeper, in a sense, roughly a kind of historian and cultural preservationist. And he said, I only drank once when I was a younger man, and I drank to a little excess the one time, but I thought I was a good dancer that night. And he said we called them mind changers, was what alcohol was called. And after that display, he said I never drank again.
Wow. Wow.
because a lot of the clan mothers and so forth
Yeah.
came up to him and said, "You don't want to do that, taking the white man's drink, and the mind changers will fool you. You don't want them to fool you this way, so you have to put it down."
Okay.
And so his elders told him to cut it back because it was a problem. You know, there was a words to that effect essentially, and they were
Well-
called mind changers because like drugs or something,
Yeah.
you could do just
Well, and then
things
when
like
I
that.
worked at Carborundum, they transferred me to Walmore Road, Carborundum, and I worked for Jim Scott, the traffic manager, and one of the electricians, Leo Henry, was an electrician, and he was the, what do I want to
Well,
say?
like the chief, right?
of the reservation of
Mhm.
Tuscarora.
Right.
And he was just a super, super guy.
Oh, absolutely.
Leo would say, we don't celebrate this and that. We worship the earth. We celebrate every day.
Right.
And it turned out his daughter, and we laugh about this, how things, it's a small world. His daughter, Heidi, was going to school and was in the army, joined the army to be a physical therapist. They told her at UB that they would guarantee, well, it didn't happen that way, but she ended up going to University of Maryland to get her degree after the army. And at the same time, you and Scott were married and you moved to Connecticut and you applied at Yale University for a job, we'll say. You ended up at Ansonia or whatever. And at the same time, Leo Henry told me his daughter Heidi, now she's Indian, got a job at Yale University.
Yale New Haven Hospital.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yale New Haven Hospital.
Yeah.
And then Ann and Scott moved to Rochester, to Greece, in Rochester.
Okay.
And Ann got a job with BOCES, Scott got a job at Highland Hospital. Guess what? Heidi Henry got a job at Highland Hospital. Oh my God, here's Leo Henry's daughter now working.
Wow.
Yeah, with my
With-
husband.
Wow. And with your husband, right? Okay.
Not in the
wow.
same department, but
But
they
in
knew
the same-
each other.
Right, in
Yeah.
the same company. Yeah.
You know, it's
Huh.
really such a small world.
It truly is. Wow.
Yeah,
It really comes back around. And you said you worked for Wurlitzer.
yes,
Now, what did you do at the Wurlitzer?
best job in the world. I was 17, graduated from high school at 17, just turned 17. Couldn't get a job anywhere because you're not 18, they won't hire you, and I went to
Right.
Bell, they wouldn't even look at me. And at Wurlitzer, if you were Lutheran and you were German, you got a job. I'm serious.
Sure. Yes.
Mr. Fells from Martinsville would hire anybody. You can have this. And that's a Schnickel Fritz. You know,
Oh yeah, that was in the Stickle Bank. Yeah. Right.
Schnitzelbank.
Yeah.
So anyway, I got a
Sorry.
job. They were looking for somebody in the print department. So I started there at 17, and there was one other woman and myself. And the printers, we had a printer, and we had a photographer, and we had 2 artists, and we would do the manuals for the phonographs and the organs. And we had a large table, twice the size of this, which was on motors that moved it. So you collated the booklets by standing there picking up pages as the table turned. And then printing, the printer did the printing, and then we had a hole punch that would punch holes through this much paper.
Wow.
And the photographer, well, I worked for them for about 1.5 years, and then I got a promotion when a girl moved along the line. And I worked for the advertising manager. So the advertising manager was A.D. initials, A.D. Palmer, Palmer. Nancy saw his business card from the wedding gift
Oh,
he
yeah.
gave him. And his name is,
A mistake. A mistake. A
Mm.
mistake.
Really?
AMOSDAKE. So it sounds like a mistake.
Sure, as if you made a
Mhm.
mistake.
so he went by A.D. Nobody ever
Right,
knew his
no.
name. They
Huh.
did not know his name.
Yeah, really.
A.D. It was always A.D. And being the advertising manager, I met Frankie Lane, I met Joni James, I think the McGuire sisters were there. This was like in 1956
Mm-hmm.
when Wurlitzer had their bicentennial. So it was 200 years?
Well, 100 years, probably.
No, it was maybe it was 100 years. Now I can't remember,
That's
I
all right.
should. But
It's a
I'll
big
never
year.
forget, we had to go up to Buffalo and work at the hotel and check all the phonograph operators in from all over the United States.
Wow.
And the one guy from New York City came in, a Jewish man, and his name was Abe Fish. And then we wrote his name, and, we had to type the title up. And your wife's name? Goldie. I had to keep a straight face. Therefore, Goldie Fish. Honestly, these things just stick in your mind.
Of course, yeah,
They
right.
do.
Wow.
But that was a lot of fun. Oh my God, I used to program the phonographs that we had with the records. And then we had a phonograph right in our sales office.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was fun. I mean, that was a good job.
You
had
sat
a-
and posed for a couple of photographs, right, in front of the organ, and
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that I'd like to see too. Yeah,
she's
sure.
got that, I
Oh,
think, still.
Yeah,
The
and then
picture.
one time the artist painted me black and put lipstick on me, so.
Oh my God, that wouldn't,
Don't-
We could do it back then, and it was a nice picture they made of me.